welcome back to On the Ball, the podcast series from the Vanderbilt Sports and Society Initiative. I'm Andrew Maraniss, and I'm very excited to have Jonathan Wynn with us today as our guest. Uh, Vanderbilt fans out there remember Jonathan as a stalwart on the defensive line in the mid to late 2015, 16, 17 range. Also played in the NFL. And so we want to talk to Jonathan about his football experience, but also Jonathan is really into arts and culture and supporting Black creatives in Nashville. He's an entrepreneur as well, starting his own coffee shop. So just a really interesting all-around story. He's an author. Really, I think, Jonathan, in many ways, you're kind of what school like Vanderbilt points to as the type of scholar athlete that the school is interested in, bringing to campus and just seeing the life that you've led outside of football. I know a lot of people are really proud of that. So, Jonathan, thank you for joining the show today.
Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, man. So, I want to talk a little bit about your football background, but just as a way to quickly let people know how you came back on my radar just in the last couple of weeks. You had posted something on social media. It was an interview you did with a local legend, Leland Statham. Everybody knows Leland. And you were talking about a workshop you were putting on through a nonprofit that you started that was supporting BIPOC creatives in Nashville. Could you tell us a little bit about Sold, your SOUL apostrophe D, your nonprofit, and that event that you recently put on?
Soul Creative Collective is a 501c3 organization. Uh, Basically, we're a nonprofit that brings people together over the love of BIPOC arts and culture. We do so by focusing on education, collaboration, and access. We we kind of started forming in May of 2022, and we kind of started to just do a series of events that stringed along to us trying to figure out our mission, who we are, our identity. And fast forward to a couple weeks ago when you saw me on the news with Leland, we had the opportunity to work with NAMAM, the National Museum of African American Music. We did a 3-day workshop series for Black Music Month, and we got a chance to have different people do panels, do talks around topics that correlate with Black Music Month. The first panel was an art of DJing panel where we had some of the local DJs talk about their mindset as a DJ. What does it take to be a DJ? The things that they look for as an artist, but also how that correlates with their personal lives and how that all comes together. The second day we had Moncherie Jones, who is over Mojo Marketing here in Nashville, and basically talk about the power of branding and the power of using your brand to create a community. And that was something special that she got a chance to share her thoughts on and things like that. And then the third day we had a local poet who was really well known. She was in 2022 the fifth best poet in the world, named Alexis Wolf. She did a workshop on lyricism and storytelling and how you write to be able to convey a story, but also convey your emotions, convey and articulate what you're feeling. And so we did a 3-day workshop, but we also did a showcase at the end of June to cap off Black Music Month, where we had 15 local artists be able to perform on stage and showcase their talent and truly just bring a community around them. It was one of our best collaborations this year in terms of high visibility, working with a lot of people and things like that. And for Soul, that was something that was very beneficial. And for us, as we continue to just create spaces like that around Nashville and just grow, that was something that I can say that was good for Soul.
Tremendous. Sounds like it was fascinating subjects, and really happy to hear that there was good turnout for those events. I'm sure it'll just grow in the future. For anybody who hasn't been to the National Museum of African American Music, it's a gem downtown. I feel like it's Smithsonian quality, museum when you walk in there, and so interactive. My kids love it. They can listen to a lot of music while they're there, put on the headphones. It's a great addition to the that tourist area, really, of downtown Nashville. All right, so let's go back and you talk about identity. Like part of your identity for a long time was as a football player, growing up in the Atlanta area, right? Stone Mountain, Georgia. Um, how did you really come into football of all sports, and when did you feel like you really took off and realized you had the talent to play at the college level or even the professional level?
Yeah, man. Growing up in Stone Mountain, Georgia, sports was big, especially football. For me, I grew up as a Georgia Bulldog. Supported the early 2000 years of Georgia, where they had Matthew Stafford, Sean Marino, just greats, and really grew up in the SEC life. For me, I started playing at age 8. I was a skinny, scrawny kid, playing the game, but naturally, I was always rough. I was always aggressive, and I feel like playing the game, it was a way for me to get some aggression out and get some roughness out as well. And I just continued to just keep playing to where it got me to my high school, Stevenson High School, where a couple other legends of Vanderbilt came from, such as Kenny Ladler, Darian Heron, Dallas Rivers. Got a chance to go under that program where I saw what it took to be great. I saw what it took to work hard and win, and really like just achieve good things when it came to football. And I can tell you, my ninth grade year, my school, Stevenson High School, put it was around 25 people out to colleges. Like they got scholarships, and when you see that in ninth grade, it kind of gives you the idea like that could be me. And so that kind of became like a driving force for me through high school, to where when I graduated in 2013, I got a chance to be a part of James Franklin's last class before he went off to Penn State. And for me to attend Vanderbilt, I know for my family, we always valued education, and that was something that I loved about them. Coach Franklin, he was a great coach. He was very personable. He talked to me. He talked to my family. He came to my games. And then at the same time, Vanderbilt being in Nashville, which was a great city. And then also, I was very in tune with Vanderbilt having a lot of black representation on campus. You had Mr. David Williams. You had the Black Cultural Center on campus. So much history and how they truly, treated black people on campus. I know you wrote about Perry Wallace and things like that. So it just kind of it was something that I drawn to, as well as the football, to where I went into Vanderbilt and got a chance to really develop under Coach Franklin as a freshman, and I did redshirt. But when I got a chance to transition with Coach Mason, he truly became a good coach for me to become a great player under, especially on the defensive line, running the 4-3 scheme, and truly playing these other teams as well. And I truly felt at home and kind of got into the rhythm of just being a great student athlete at Vanderbilt.
Going back to your days growing up in Georgia, you're part of a powerhouse high school program, but you weren't. It didn't seem like, or in reading about you and talking to you in the past, like football was a really important part of your life, but it wasn't the only thing, And you've talked about the fact that you'd hang out at the bookstore and with your mom, on weekends, and at the library with your dad. And I mean, was it hard for you as a really talented football player where that almost becomes your mission, like earning one of those scholarships like those other kids did from your high school, to have that balance in your life? Or how did you proactively cultivate like this reading and writing interest that you've always had at the same time you were developing as a star football player?
Yeah, and Andrew, I feel like it really started with at home, my family. My family. I know a lot of kids come from families where there's only one way, and that's the only way. but my family kind of was more so whatever I draw interest to, they would nurture and cultivate that. And then at the same time, they wanted to make sure I just kind of be involved in a bunch of things. We always had options. It was never no pressure. I always had options, and I believe my parents loved me doing things around the arts and around things that are educational. In a sense, kind of having like a, using one side of the brain as well as the other side of the brain, being able to utilize both. And I believe with that, they kind of understood that, you're great at this, or you're really good at this, but in a sense, I don't know if they had it into words, but I truly believe like having something to fall back on, or
Mhm.
like a backup plan was always something that they always made sure I kind of had in mind when it came to playing football or even doing something with the arts and writing.
Okay. And forgive me, I forgot. Were you drafted or did you sign as an undrafted free agent to the NFL?
I signed as an undrafted free agent with the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah,
Okay. And then you played with the Vikings and the Lions, and I think maybe a training camp with the Panthers also. Is that right?
yeah. I had a
Yeah.
small stint with the Panthers during their 2020 season. Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
And then what was that transition like for you from college football to walking into an NFL locker room and making the team, undrafted? I mean, that must be such a uncertain situation to be in. Such pride when you make it, but what was that like for you?
It's funny looking back as a kid. I can't say all the way that I was fully into trying to make the NFL. I think my biggest dream was more so to play college football. I can truly say I loved the fanfare of college football. I loved the pageantry of it all. Like I was drawn more to that. But I truly believe the thought of me playing in the NFL really came while I was at Vanderbilt, and to be able to do that, I was actually like excited. I was stoked, and it was cool to be a part of that, and to be able to practice alongside players that I watch, people that I see on TV. It really just kind of opened my eyes to show that they're just normal people. This is a job. This is like how they keep their families, and being able to do that for myself as well, and to be able to do it at a high level, and with being able to make those teams, it helped me to see like my worth and what my value is with football, and how I can bring that to a team or to a squad. And it was just a great experience, being able to work every day alongside these players, being able to have a brotherhood in the NFL, you know, having the money experience of getting your first NFL check, and what that can bring and change generations in terms
Yeah.
of like that. So it was truly an amazing experience, and I'm glad I can say that I was in that top 1%, because a lot of people had that dream of reaching that top 1%, but I can say that I did.
Yeah, pretty cool. And I read that you were keeping a journal, and like the night before your first NFL game, you took the time. I don't know if you were in a hotel room, but to write down a lot about what had led to that moment and what it meant to you. What do you remember about journaling the night before your first NFL game?
Man, it was funny because that camp, I wasn't doing the best. I was kind of low on the totem pole, and it kind of like it played around with me mentally, because coming from being like high and being great at Vanderbilt, to be able to start over and be among people that are like highly skilled and all the things. It kind of messed with me mentally, but one of the things I'm grateful for was being able to journal. I want to give a shout out to Trey Tarpley, who I played with at Vanderbilt, who was very big in the mental health space, and he helped put me on to journaling. And I brought that into the NFL. That helped me to kind of have awareness of how I'm feeling, but then also write down what I want to accomplish, and kind of like meditate on that going into games or going into practices and things like that. And with that night before, I truly was wanting to like just manifest how I'm going to have a great first game. I'm about to make a play, and do and have an exciting first NFL game. And it truly happened that next game or that first game where I got a sack. I made a couple tackles. It was an experience. My mom video recorded it, something that I can hold forever. And yeah, it became something. With that journaling, it became something to where like it became like my routine, became something I needed to do to kind of keep striving and keep my sanity, I would say.
I wish that I had journaled. You hear about the benefits of it, and it would be so interesting to go back and read, what I might have written years ago. So you started that while you were a student at Vanderbilt. Are you still doing it now? And like while during your playing days, whether in college or the pros, like what did you see as the primary benefits of journaling?
Yeah, and I really started it. I didn't start journaling at Vanderbilt. I started in the NFL, honestly.
Okay.
But I did get a chance to really have awareness of how I'm feeling, begin to understand, what I want to like manifest. Even reading books and like authors having certain like phrases or words that kind of stick to me. I'll write it down and kind of like just express more or discuss more with myself about why that phrase really hits home for me or things like that. It truly kind of helped me to see that I also like to write too, and like
Mhm.
it helped me to kind of understand like, okay, writing is it's not bad. It's fun. It's expressive, and but it's also beneficial for me mentally as well. So I think that's kind of what happened. And then when I did transition from the NFL to just regular life, it helped me a lot to deal with that shift because I think I needed to find a way to articulate, how I felt, what I want to strive for, and how much football has mean to me, and yeah, it helped me to get through.
And I know that transition can be really hard. I mean, you think about an athlete's identity really wrapped up in their athletic ability, and but it's going to end at some point. Sounds like your parents, whether they said it explicitly or not, were kind of helping you prepare for that uh, your whole life. You've talked about a bit of the shock, I guess, of going from that NFL paycheck to having to get a regular job. We know you're not around NFL players anymore. I think maybe you were working at a coffee shop as a barista as one of your first jobs out of the NFL. Did you feel like the mental preparation that you had put in paid off at that moment? Was it still a really difficult initial transition for you? How did that go?
It was difficult in some ways, but not in totality. I feel like when I decided to retire, um, and I wrote this in my journal. I said, if I can, football has taken me places, taken me things, and it was a true vehicle. But it also showed me if I truly like work hard and truly do these things, I can truly be great. And football gave me the tools to go be great in other things. It gave me the tools to, be punctual, to work hard, to truly understand something, and I think and truly trust the process. I think that was something that really stuck with me from Mason on to NFL and things like that. So when I got a chance to understand these are the tools football left me, I kind of shifted my mindset to be like, okay, let's go be great at life and use these tools that football got me, that football gave to me, and just apply it in these areas. And of course, it took a little second um, starting working at the coffee shop. One of the things I know when I did leave the game, I remember saying like, okay, what can I do? And I remember thinking to myself, I believe I'm not the person who can do a conventional 9 to 5. I think I kind of already established that I sort of want to do something unconventional. I sort of want to own something. I want to be an entrepreneur, and I know I know that road is the road less traveled. So I kind of like prepared my mind to kind of like take on that journey, and from then on, I truly believe just God just led the way, and I just trusted the process, and all the tools from the game that I learned and that I like gained, I just continued to apply it forward, and it got me to where I am now.
Okay. Well, to coffee, because I know there's some news there from an entrepreneurial side, but you wrote a book also, Summer Juice. I think it started off as um, relatively short story that then turned into a full-fledged novel. When did you start working on this? Can you tell us a little bit about what it's about, and what was that writing process like for you?
Yeah, man. Summer Juice is it's a book about a shy introverted kid who finds himself one summer with the help of his magical lemonade stand drink. The drink gets him into a series of events that makes his summer break memorable. That story kind of came about from me transitioning from I guess childhood to adulthood. And I guess when I graduated Vanderbilt and went to the NFL, my mind was just like, man, I'm transitioning to adulthood. I want to make sure I don't remember. I mean, make sure I don't forget about the things that made me who I am, my childhood, and so I just kind of made a decision to more so like, okay, let's write about it. And with the NFL coming from Vanderbilt, I was so used to like having school or doing something alongside football. But when you go to the NFL, it's just football, and then everything else is everything else. And I had a lot of time on my hands, so I was just like, let's do something constructive. And that's when I started to like write the book. And this was I started writing in 2018. Uh, I remember in 2019, I had like just a small children's book version, probably like 10 pages of it. I got a chance to get it in front of a publishing group who who challenged me and was just like, Jonathan, this is a great story, but I want to challenge you. I believe that this can become a 50,000 word manuscript. And I was I was over here like
Good challenge.
I, I was like, are you sure? Like, are you sure? But I took on the challenge going into that summer of 2019. I truly remember every day I would train, and then I would write. You can ask one of our great friends, Oren Burks,
Yeah.
the night before his wedding. I was in his room just writing on that book. That's how he knew I was determined to finish Summer Juice, and I ended up finishing Summer Juice before the camp of 2019, and I was with the Lions. And going into the pandemic, 2020, that's when the book got released that summer of 2020, and I think that process, that experience, really showed me if I really trust the process, if I really work hard at something and really put my mind to it, I could really do it. So I think that was a pivotal experience for me as a person, but also as a professional entrepreneur.
That's tremendous. I mean, that's pretty quick actually to write a book in that period of time without having an NFL career on the side. Um, so that's one thing I wanted to ask you about. You mentioned Oren. I know Oren has a lot of interests outside of football, always has. You do too. Was that more common than people might expect in an NFL locker room that guys had a lot of other interests and a lot of other things going on, or was it more unusual, that you were also writing a book or that you had all these interests that were beyond the game? How did that shake out in the locker room?
Well, when you when you get into an NFL locker room, you kind of understand that talent and physically, y'all play, you all have similarity at playing at the best and playing well. But when it comes to like other interests outside of football, as a Vanderbilt student athlete, you really do stand out. It's not. It doesn't feel weird talking to like Orrin or my former Vanderbilt teammates and about the things that we're doing, because I truly believe Vanderbilt shaped us to where we could do other things alongside football and still be okay and still be great. Now, mind you, it was other teammates that in the NFL that had other interests that nurtured those as well, that worked on those things. It kind of depends on the school, I think I think it also depends on the experience
Mhm.
of them at that school and how that kind of worked alongside them with football. But for the most part, a lot of the guys in the locker room are very smart, know what they're doing. They for a lot of them, football is just a vehicle. Football is a way to change lives. Football is a way to feed their families, and be able to stack enough to where they can do the interests that they have outside of football. And I think a lot of the guys in the locker room know that and kind of use the game to do that. So in a sense, you have there's a lot of all the NFL players are very smart, definitely want to use the game as a vehicle to feed into their other interests or fund their other interests and things like that. But from a Vanderbilt side, I can truly say like us doing things that are, more intellectual, that are, probably looked at differently in terms of like community or other avenues alongside football. I truly believe that's a Vanderbilt thing as well.
So, in your post-football days, seems like you've invested a lot of your time and effort into helping other people, receive a platform to share their creativity, to share their voice. Like, where does this interest in using, the ability that you have, like to help? Why do you want to help other people? It seems like it's personal, but also kind of rooted in maybe history also, and showing this city or the country that there has always been like this center of Black creativity in Nashville that might get overlooked sometimes. And so, uh, correct me if I'm wrong, but that seems like a big piece of what you're doing in addition to just, choosing individuals to put up on a stage. It's more than that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I growing up in Stone Mountain, Georgia, which is outside of Atlanta. Atlanta is a sort of a mecca when it comes to like Black prosperity, success, and things like that. And being able to come to Vanderbilt, be around affluent Black people doing their thing on campus as well. But then it's funny. My first learning of Nashville, because when I'm at Vanderbilt I was more so in the bubble, not really knowing more about Nashville or
Mhm.
whatnot. But you know when I read your book, Andrew, when I got a chance to really learn about where Perry Wallace grew up, in North Nashville, what was going on in North Nashville, the history of North Nashville, just things outside of Vanderbilt that I kind of like connected with and saw. And I think for me, I didn't really get a chance to see much of it until like after I left Vanderbilt, and all the things that you kind of brought up about his upbringing in the book. I actually saw what was going on, and I got a chance to learn, and I got a chance to understand like there's just so much prosperity here, but the current conditions and state of North Nashville doesn't line up with what was successfully done. It kind of really just built something to me to be able to like try to see how we can revive that, how we can bring that, because I understand when that's in place, as a kid or as a generation, it cultivates like good people, great people, especially within the Black community. And I think for me, I knew create. I love creativity. I didn't realize how much of an entrepreneurial fire I had until after leaving the NFL. But I got a chance to understand how I could truly do something meaningful and impactful to the community while also being a creative and entrepreneur at the same time. And truly, North Nashville and the Black community here in Nashville helped me to see how I could work with them with the gifts and the talents that I have.
That's amazing. I didn't know that Perry's story had that impact. That's really cool to hear. All right, so getting to your entrepreneurial spirit, I think in working at the coffee shop, well, after hours, it became a place, where people could share their poetry or, spoken word or music. How did that experience working there lead to, I guess it supported your interests in just the broader creative scene in Nashville, and now it's led to something else where you're going to start something on your own. So fill us in on that experience and how it's led to what is next for you.
Yeah, man. I started working at All People Coffee Shop. Currently now it's called Memento, but then All People Coffee Shop, started working there. Didn't really know what was going to happen with me, but I just stayed there. I felt rooted, and honestly, everything that happened or I needed to know, uh, I met them there. I got a chance to really network, connect with people. My now business partner, Christian Sinclair, um, he actually we were just expressing about how we just need more spaces in Nashville that celebrates us coming off of the pandemic. He decided to, ask me like, okay, let's put on a spoken word night in May of 2022. I agreed, and I started to just get the word out, try to gather people I know to come and everything. And it ended up being a great night. We had a line out the door. We brought the coffee shop business. A lot of local Black creatives came and supported. And the biggest question afterwards was, when's the next event? And that's when we just stringed along events that were intentional, but also community rooted, and also really about the BIPOC arts and culture. So then it got to a place where it was just like, okay, with me and Sinclair, like, okay, what are we doing? What is our mission? Who do we want to be? And that's when we got a chance to become Soul Creative Collective. And that's when we got a chance to refine ourselves. We got a chance to work with different venues, different creatives, different spaces. And at the moment, we're still growing. We're still aspiring to become bigger and better, which has been a process and things like that. But over time, it has helped me to be able to learn more about the community here in Nashville. Uh, what does it mean being a creative entrepreneur here in Nashville? And just more so, basically the lane that I know that I'm serving that has truly left an impact on Nashville. And the funny thing about being a coffee person, is funny how being with my mom at Starbucks, and I wasn't drinking coffee. I was just there. And who would have thought me being at a coffee shop? I'm literally like a coffee person now. I drink coffee. I can educate people about different drinks, but I also began to understand like the coffee shop space. It's a space where different types of people can come together. A space where people can connect and network. A space where distinguished people can connect, and I think a space where people can be productive. And I think for me, I like being productive. I like moving somewhere, and I think a lot of the people that I've began to like know at the coffee shop, they always have their laptops. They always meeting with somebody, and for me, that was something that I love to be around. So yeah.
All right. So, are you able to share like what's next for you there? What stage are you in starting your own place?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I know for now, and or what I believe is good to put out. Me and a potential partner here in Nashville, we're looking at trying to come together to put a coffee shop on Jefferson Street. I think we both agree that you got coffee shops at Vanderbilt, at Belmont, and things like that. But being able to put a coffee shop on Jefferson Street with so much history that has happened at that street, and to be able to have TSU, Fisk, and Meharry in that street and in that community will be a great thing, something that can bring people together, especially with the gentrification that's happening on that side of town. Being able to preserve the heritage of the local community while also serving quality drinks and food that attracts the new residents and community coming in as well would be something very great that we're trying to move towards. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. I hope that keep me posted on that. All right, so as we wrap things up here, if people are interested in following Sold Creative Collective, can they find you online or on social media? Or how do they learn about the events that are coming up or, donate to the nonprofit, support what you're doing?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram at SOULD615. We have a link tree in our bio where it has a link or it has buttons where you can donate. Our website is www.souledcreative.co, where you'll see a whole lineup of who we are, what we're about, but also like our next events, how we can connect, things like that. We also have a LinkedIn page as well, where you can see us posting things about our highlights, what we have done, how we've been in the news,
Mhm.
and things like that. So, yeah, that's how you can connect. Yeah,
All right. Well, Jonathan, I know you're a busy guy. Thank you for taking the time to join the podcast. Congratulations on, you came to Vanderbilt already formed in so many ways, but it seems like you made the most of that experience that you had here. Took your athletic talent to the NFL, continued to write, wrote a novel, starting a business, a lot to be proud of. So, Jonathan, thank you so much.
thank you, Andrew. Thank you for giving me the platform to be able to tell my story, and I truly hope it inspires somebody else, especially at Vanderbilt. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Absolutely. Well, thanks again, Jonathan. Take care.
take care.